Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on the Gooners and Gloves Podcast channel. In today's video, it's going to be the 43rd Gooners and Gloves Podcast, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and reactions to Arsenal's game versus Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. We got the result 1-0 in spite of what was some really poor officiating, and we will get on to that. I mean, I was really disappointed with the officiating in this game, just really bad decisions being made by the referee. I wasn't impressed at all, and yeah, I don't tend to complain too much on this channel. You guys know me, I try to keep things objective and not too ranty, but I think I definitely need to speak my mind on some of this officiating because this was terrible. Now, obviously in the end we did get the win, which is massive, so we still got the 3 points, so it's fine, but at the same time it doesn't change how poor the decisions have been, and in other games as well, but this game was absolutely the worst that I've seen. This was really poor, so we might as well start with that before we get into the actual game itself. So firstly, the foul on Miles Lewis-Skelly, the foul by Miles Lewis-Skelly, never a red. Never in a million years can that possibly be a red card. There's simply no way you can give a red for that for 3 reasons. First of all, the trip takes place in our own penalty box, so our own box. So we're talking about 70 or 80 yards out from Wolves' goal, so ages away. It's our own penalty box. Our goal is about 80 yards away from there. So how can you say that it's an absolute guarantee that Matt Doherty would have gone on to score if he's literally like 70 to 80 yards out and there's tons of defenders all around him ready to sprint after him? So that's the first problem. The second problem is that there were actually 2 players in front of Matt Doherty, so he wasn't the last man by any means whatsoever. Like, he was not the last man, so it can't be a foul it can't be a red card on that basis. And thirdly, it's not cynical in any way. He doesn't hit like the shin, the foot, the ankle, anything. He literally just trips him. Like, it's a yellow, don't get me wrong, like I agree that it's a yellow, but it's not a red by any means. And as I said, those are the main reasons. He's in his own penalty box. It's about 80 yards from goal. There's 2 other players in front of Matt Doherty from Wolves, and also it's not cynical. So for all those reasons, it should not have been a red. And the fact that VAR actually went and checked that, because apparently there was a VAR check going on, and actually kept the on-field decision and said, yeah, that's a red, absolutely blows my mind. How you can review that, I'm guessing in slow motion, and actually conclude, yeah, that's a red card. So disgraceful decision, really disappointing to see this standard of officiating in the Premier League. I won't be referring to the referee by name, as I don't want to make this personal and I don't want to have a go at somebody. Ultimately referees are still human beings, and they do have emotions, so I'll only be referring to him as the referee. I'm sure you guys probably know who I'm talking about, but I just don't want to mention his name, so I won't be saying his name. I'll only be calling him the referee. But yeah, so the referee goes and checks it and sticks with his decision, as does VAR, and Miles Lewis-Skelly was sent off. And if this thing remains, and if this straight red card stays, then it will mean Miles Lewis-Skelly misses 3 games in a row now, which is really significant. It's really annoying, and it's just crazy, how decisions like this can go through. We'll see if it gets overturned or if it gets appealed, but as it currently stands, Miles Lewis-Skelly is suspended for 3 games off the back of genuinely, honestly, might be like up there as the worst red card I've ever seen. It's definitely close. It's absolutely one of the worst red cards I've ever seen, and just generally speaking, one of the worst refereeing decisions I've ever seen, and it was really not good. So as you can imagine, the half kind of started dying down after that a bit. Arsenal kind of started defending a little bit more, just kind of to see the half out. Wolves were still attacking a bit. But then we get onto the other really poor decision in this game. So Joao Gomez, so he'd already been booked earlier in the game, and in general he was fouling quite a lot. But he only got a second yellow for what was an absolutely hideous challenge on Declan Rice. So if you guys haven't seen it, the guy's studs go completely into his ankle, absolutely stonewall straight red card. And again, by the referee's own logic, if the Miles Lewis-Skelly one is a red, this one is absolutely a red. I mean, the guy literally he completely commits all the way through, sticks his studs right into Declan Rice's ankle, and it's about as stonewall of a red as it gets. That was only given a second yellow. Now, sure, Joao Gomez still came off because he already had a yellow card, but what this means is that if he didn't already have that yellow card, he would have actually stayed on the pitch after an absolutely hideous challenge. I mean, this was a really nasty challenge on Declan Rice. It could have been a potential leg breaker, and somehow that was only given a second yellow, which again means that if that first yellow wasn't given earlier in the game, he actually would have been allowed to stay on the pitch after that challenge. And once again, VAR apparently reviewed this and said, yeah, that's okay, like a red is sufficient. I mean, how absolutely insane is that? Like, it's just crazy. And again, this challenge was way worse, like way worse than Miles Lewis-Skelly's challenge, and somehow that was only given a second yellow. So those were the 2 big, really poor decisions. And to be honest, just in general, I did feel that the Wolves players were fouling and the referee was letting things go. So all in all, just a really poor refereeing performance. But in spite of that, justice was served in this game, and Arsenal did get the deserved 1-0 win. So super happy about that. And moving on from the refereeing aside, let's talk a bit about the game. So obviously let's talk about the goal. Riccardo Calafiori, couldn't be more happy for him. Absolutely buzzing for Calafiori. I mean, he's had to deal with so many injuries and just general setbacks this season, not to mention criticism. I thought when he came on, he was really good. So he came on at half-time, and Ethan Nwaneri was sacrificed as a result of the red card. And yeah, I thought Calafiori was really good, and man, what a finish, what a goal that was. Absolutely outstanding finish. So Martinelli crosses in a ball, and then one of the Wolves defenders heads it, and Calafiori receives it, and what a ball. That was an excellent goal. Seriously, what a finish. And this now makes it the second incredible goal that Calafiori has scored. So technically speaking, the only goals he scored so far are absolute bangers. I mean, you take our mind back to Man City away, where he absolutely rifled it into the top right corner. Well, this time he hit it, and he hit it beautifully into the ground, and it just went into that bottom right corner. And such a great finish, great goal, and more than happy for him. And that goal would ultimately win us the game, hence why I've put him at the top of the stars list. But yeah, absolutely wonderful finish, great goal. And aside from that, he looked pretty decent throughout the whole time he was on. Obviously, he's not back up to full fitness yet because he's been injured, but he looked decent. He was good on that left hand side, and just looked alright, I felt. So yeah, that was all good. One thing that I do have to mention though, and I don't want to go too into Kai Havertz, but there's no denying that once again he really should have been finishing some of the chances he had, especially in the first half. Now, honestly, I think it's fine. Ultimately, I'm sure it will come good. And it's still looking like we could potentially sign Šeško or even Matheus Cunha, who, again, actually did end up playing in this game. But the thing is, Cunha did play in this game, which, to be fair, I didn't actually expect. But I must say, he really did not look happy. Like, he was pretty much getting angry every time he looked at one of his Wolves teammates. He just did not look like he wanted to be there. So I think he probably still is on his way out from Wolves. He didn't look happy at all. I mean, he was getting really, like, he was visibly yelling at all of his teammates. He looked pretty angry at the manager. He doesn't seem like he wants to be there. So it's still possible he might be leaving. And as I mentioned in previous videos, if we get Matheus Cunha, I'll be over the moon. I think the guy's an absolute baller. But yeah, so that's the actual goal. In general, throughout the game, so as mentioned before, Kai Havertz, I did feel missed some good chances. He didn't necessarily have a bad game or anything. He got himself in good positions. He played well, but definitely needs to be finishing the chances. However, as always, it's very encouraging that he was getting himself into the right positions and not being offside as often. I thought Trossard was decent. Trossard created a couple of good opportunities. As mentioned before, if Kai Havertz had finished them, that would have been a couple of assists for Trossard. And I think Trossard's somebody who's really stepping up recently. I think he's been looking a lot better, and I was very happy with him. Martinelli, I will say, probably wasn't the best, but this happens. It's hard to always have that consistency in the winger position, so it's all good. He was coming off a really good game from the Champions League, but unfortunately just didn't quite keep that form up in the Premier League. But this is I guess this is the reality of football. It's hard, it's difficult, but not the worst game in the world, but not quite up to the level. In terms of midfield, so Nwaneri, Odegaard actually missed this game due to, I think it was illness. He was ill and couldn't play, and obviously we know that other players are out as well. So Ethan Nwaneri was put in there, and I will admit he didn't have the best game, but you guys have to remember Ethan Nwaneri is still young, he's still inexperienced, and ultimately has only played a few starting games. Like, we can't always expect the world from him. So for what he was tasked to do and for what he was given to do, I thought he did fine. He had an alright performance. It wasn't anything crazy, but as mentioned before, this is a young kid who's still very much inexperienced and still needs to develop. So we can't be expecting a world from him. You know what I mean? We can't be expecting hat tricks or anything like that at this stage. So for what he was tasked to do, I thought he did fine. And yeah. Now let's get into who I felt were the stars of the game. So as mentioned before, I gave the first one to Calafiori. I mean, I feel like when it's a 1-0 win and you score the goal, I mean, you kind of just have to be the man in the match, you know what I mean? Excellent goal, as mentioned before. But aside from that, good physicality, good defending, and just a good first game back after obviously being on the sidelines for a little while. I think he's almost, assuming that Marzo Skelly definitely is suspended, you'd imagine that Calafiori will be back into the starting 11 now. And yeah, I thought he did well when he came on. Good defending, good physicality, some good tackles, and obviously an excellent finish to top it all off. So solid from Calafiori. Then you have William Saliba. William Saliba, unbelievable composure. Even before the red card, he was defending really well. He was making great interceptions, good blocks, etc. But after going down to 10 men is when I think that Saliba really shined. He showed serious leadership. I mean, he just looked great. He showed really good leadership. He showed really good strength. And ultimately, I thought he just did very well. And Very solid performance. The main thing is his composure and also his one-on-one taking. He's just so calm, so composed, and he just knows what he's doing. And yeah, brilliant performance from William Saliba. Really, really good. And it was actually reflected on Fantasy Premier League as well, as he actually was given the 3 bonus points for this game. Although I do wonder how Calafiori didn't get any bonus points despite him having scored. But alas, Saliba did get the 3 bonus, and yeah, he did very well. And then finally, we had Declan Rice, another really good performance from Declan Rice. He just completely bossed that midfield yesterday. He completely bossed it. He smashed it. Really good passes, really good runs. And yeah, I think he's just really, really improving in that number 8 position. And hopefully he can carry on. But yeah, that pretty much summarizes the game. So all in all, a very intense game. 2 red cards. And just loads of fouls, loads of red cards. It's just one of those games. Wolves made it tough. They didn't make it easy, but we were able to finally get the goal. And as I said, in my opinion, I did feel that Arsenal winning was definitely justice served, especially after what were some really poor decisions. But, games like this happen. You have to get through these tough games, and I'm just very happy to see that we have managed to. And it's crazy to think that this is now the 4th time this season that we've been down to 10 men. It's insane. And as I said, 3 of them I don't agree with. The only one I agreed with was when Saliba was sent off against Bournemouth. But aside from that, the Rice red card I thought was poor. The Trossard one I thought was poor. And now we have the latest addition, which is Miles Lewis-Skelly's, which is by far the worst. But alas, we got the 3 points. That's the important thing. So we remain second on the Premier League. Bournemouth also did us a huge favour by beating... I'm sure I checked the Premier League table. So Bournemouth did us a massive favour by beating Nottingham Forest really convincingly 5-0. And can we talk about Bournemouth though? What a performance, what a season these guys are having. Absolutely incredible season. Seriously, massive respect to Bournemouth, and any Bournemouth fans watching, Iraola is a brilliant manager, and you guys have been sensational recently. Seriously, what a performance. And thank you guys for doing us what was a massive favour by beating Forest 5-0. So that now means that we are 3 points clear of Forest. So that's obviously good to see. And still trailing Liverpool, of course, but Liverpool do now head into their double game week. They've got the first game they actually have is Bournemouth away. So I guess the big question is, can Bournemouth do us another favour? They've got Liverpool. They just beat Forest 5-0. They beat Newcastle away 4-1. So definitely a very tough game, and it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Can Bournemouth do us another favour? We'll find out. And then after that, Liverpool have Everton away. So it's not an easy double game week by any means. Bournemouth away is obviously an incredibly hard game right now. And they also already beat Arsenal and Man City at their home ground. So who's to say they can't do the same to Liverpool? And then Everton away. I mean, Everton, to be fair, were actually really impressive this weekend. I was really impressed with them winning 1-0 against Brighton away. I definitely didn't see that coming. And Moyes has been off to a fairly decent start. And also, a Merseyside derby is a Merseyside derby. You know what I mean? A derby is always going to be a derby. Form goes out the window when it's a derby. It's as simple as that. Form completely goes out the window. And yeah, not only that, but it's actually also going to be I think the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park, so they're certainly going to want to send it off with a bang. But anyway, that's who Liverpool have. In terms of Arsenal, of course, we have Manchester City at home, but before that, in general, we have a massive week coming up, because first we've got Girona away. Girona, to be fair, are already eliminated from the Champions League, but in spite of that, they're still a very tough team in a tough place to go, and we need to be getting the win. We need to completely seal this top 8. We don't want to have to. Yeah, we simply do not want to be having extra games, and it'd be nice for the team to get that trip to Dubai, because we saw last year what that trip to Dubai did. But that's the first game, and then we have a massive game, Manchester City at home, and I cannot wait for this game. I'm so up for this one. Obviously, we were so close to winning at the Etihad, and they got a last-minute winner, a last-minute equaliser, and it was just devastating. We were unfairly taken down to 10 men. In general, the referee was against us that whole game, and we almost got the justice that we deserved to win, but unfortunately, City did find that equaliser, so this is going to be a massive game. I cannot wait for this City at home game. I know it's tough. Obviously, City seems to be finding form in the league again, but we simply have to win. We need our retribution. We need our revenge, and yeah. But anyway, don't want to keep rambling on for too long. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Please let me know down below what you thought of Arsenal's performance versus Wolves, and what you thought of the refereeing decisions. And with that, the next video will likely be it will either be my Girona reaction, or it'll be my boxing video, because boxing is finally getting good again now that we finally reached the point where boxing is actually getting really good again, and there's some really good fights coming up over the next few weeks, so you can expect predictions and reactions to those. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for listening. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys on another podcast soon. Bye bye.